Hi there and welcome to the channel. If this is your first time here, welcome, and please don't forget to subscribe to the channel if you've not subscribed yet. So I think this week's case is going to be quite short because there really isn't much information out there. The information that's out there is just the same repetitive information, but I did try my best to find as much information as I can. And it's quite sad because this case is very interesting. It does involve a spree killer, and a spree killer is quite different from a serial killer because a spree killer does kill their victims within a short period of time, so within like a month or within a week. This is Joseph Ngtshongwana, and he was born in 1978, but he's well known as Joseph Ngtshongwana. He was born in 1978. His father is Ntshongwana, and he's just known as Ntshongwana, and his father used to play for the African Springboks, and his father was a very good rugby player back in the day. He used to play in the 70s, and they used to travel to France. They'll travel overseas to go play rugby with other teams, which was kind of a big deal because that was during apartheid, and they would leave the country to go play with other teams, and other teams would come and play with them in South Africa. So his father was a very good rugby player, and Joseph followed in his father's footsteps, and he started playing rugby, and he was very good. He was in his school's first team, and the guys in the team say that they looked up to him, and they nicknamed him Cool Cat and Joe. But his teammates did say that even though he was a nice guy, he could just change quickly out of nowhere. His temper would just switch from being nice just to being moody and angry in an instant. Joseph was really good in rugby, and in 1998 he started playing for the Blue Bulls, and he was only 20 years old at the time, and he played with the Blue Bulls from 1998 to 2001, and during that time they won the Currie Cup, the Vodacom Cup, so they were a very good team. The case really begins in March 2011, and Joseph was 33 at that time, and Joseph claims that somebody raped his daughter, and that man infected his daughter with HIV. So he got really angry, and he decided to exact revenge for this tragic thing that happened to his daughter. So he got an axe, and he got into his Opel Corsa car, and he went looking for victims to exact his revenge on. On the 20th of March 2011, Joseph found his first victim. His first victim was a man named Thembelenkosi Cebukulu, and Thembelenkosi was just walking down the road, and Joseph started chasing him, and Thembelenkosi started running, and Joseph took his axe and he swung at him, and Thembelenkosi fell, and then when he fell, he took his axe and started chopping him, and his attacks were aimed at the head, and Thembelenkosi passed away. So after he had finished with Thembelenkosi, he got into his car and started searching for his next victim. On the 21st of March 2011, he found his next victim, a man named Siyanda Khumalo, and Siyanda was walking from home. It was around 9:40, and he noticed this grey car following him, so he started to walk fast, and then just as he was walking fast, somebody grabbed him from behind, and Joseph is a very large man, so he can easily grab anyone. So Joseph grabbed him from behind, and then he started swinging his axe at him, but Siyanda was able to escape, and he ran away and went to report the case. After his unsuccessful encounter with Siyanda, he got into his car with his ex, and he went looking for his next victim. His next victim he found on the 22nd of March in 2011, and his next victim was a man named Khangelani Mdluli, and Khangelani was walking at around 11 p.m. He was from work, and he also noticed this gray silver car following him, and the man got out of his car and started chasing him, and Khangelani started to run because Joseph is a big guy, and you have a big guy like that chasing you, you're gonna run. But unfortunately he fell, and then Joseph took out his axe and started swinging at him again, but Khangelani knew the place, so he knew how to escape. So when he fell, Joseph actually attacked him on the stomach, and Joseph hit him in the stomach with his axe, but he managed to get away because he knew the place very well, and he went to report the matter. So after another unsuccessful encounter with Khangelani, he went looking for another victim, and his second victim that day was a man named Paulos Hlongwa. And Paulos worked as a security guard at KFC, and he was working that night, and he found Paulos all alone, and he was able to attack him, and he actually beheaded him, and he took his head and he put it in a dustbin, and his body was found like a kilometer away. So what he did to Paulos was very bad. It was very tragic. So after another successful encounter with Paulos, the next day on the 23rd of March 2011, he went looking for another victim, and he found his third victim, a man named Simon Ngidi. And Simon, the same thing happened. He saw a Corsa car following him, and he ran, he fell, and then Joseph attacked him with his axe, and unfortunately he passed away. These attacks occurred in Durban, and the Durban authorities quickly knew that they had a serial killer on their hand, and this guy was moving very fast and very quickly, and they worked really quickly. They were able to link the 3 murders together, and also the attempted murder attacks on Khangelani and Siyanda. This team was able to link the attacks on a rape and kidnapping case that occurred in November 28th, the previous year in 2010, and the victim's identity was never released, just to protect her identity. So she had been kidnapped by Joseph Ngtshongwana in November 28th, the previous year, and he had actually kept her captive for 3 days, and she managed to escape. And she says that during the time he kept accusing her of giving birth to his baby and infecting the baby with HIV, and which was pretty weird because she had never met the man before. That was the first time meeting him, and he raped her 3 times during the time she was held captive, but she was able to escape from him. And she went to report the case, but police, they didn't investigate, they didn't do anything, so the case died then. After 5 days of the task force being formed, the police had their man, and their man was Joseph Ngtshongwana, and they went to arrest him. When they got to his house, they quickly found a lot of evidence. They actually found the eggs that he had used to commit the murders, and the eggs was actually hidden in a kennel, so he hid it where his dog lived, and that was crucial evidence because they were able to match the eggs to the wounds that were found on the victims. They also found blooded clothes all over his house. They also found blood in his car that matched the victims, so they had a very strong case against Joseph. And literally 2 days after Joseph was arrested, they found another body near his house, his 4th victim, and he had been attacked in a similar manner. So this man was never identified. So in total, Joseph killed 4 people. One of the most crucial evidence the police did find out is that Joseph didn't actually have a daughter. And remember that his whole motive for committing the murders was that he wanted to exact revenge for the rape of his daughter, but he actually didn't have a daughter. The police had 5 victims, and they include Khangelani, Siyanda, the unidentified woman, and a man named Sihle. Now, Sihle had actually witnessed the murder of Simon Ngidi on the 23rd of March in 2011. He said that he was studying, and he heard a noise from outside, and when he opened his curtain, he saw a man being chased by another big man. So initially he thought that, oh, they were playing, but then he saw the other man fall over, and when he fell over, the other man took out the axe, and then he started attacking him, and he was very shocked because he was actually witnessing a murder. And then he told the man to stop, and the man looked up, and he was actually under a street light, so he saw his face clearly, and he said that he can never forget that face, and that face was of Joseph Ngtshongwana. So all the 5 witnesses were able to identify Joseph Ngtshongwana. Joseph Ngtshongwana was then charged with 4 counts of murder, 2 counts of attempted murder, 1 count of rape, and 1 count of kidnapping. And during his trial, his defense team brought in a psychiatrist, and the psychiatrist said that he's suffering from schizophrenia, and his father said that his son suffered from bipolar. But the states also had their own psychiatrist and their own mental evaluation team, and they said that no, Joseph was actually sane. The way he did his murders, the way he's killed people, wasn't the way that a person suffering from schizophrenia would actually do. And especially the fact that when Sihle, the witness, shouted him to stop, he actually stopped, proves that he wasn't suffering from a schizophrenic episode. And the court did find him guilty on all charges, and he was then sentenced to 5 terms in prison. So he will likely never come out of prison ever. He's going to spend the rest of his life in prison. That's the end of this week's case. If you did enjoy the case, please do let me know your comments down below, and please don't forget to subscribe to the channel if you haven't subscribed yet. Thank you very much.